Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me directly. It's in the description below. For pricing, reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing what was easily the most discussed watch of early 2021. This is the Zenith Chronomaster Sport, bearing an uncanny resemblance to a famous Geneva-based chronograph. This timepiece nevertheless does have a personality of its own, and it comes out through first-hand experience. Basic size, well, it's familiar, 41 millimeters. I measure it about 40.5 at the edge of the bezel, which is the broadest point, so it actually wears more like a 40. It's 13.8 millimeters thick and nice and compact from lug tip to lug tip, 46.9 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now you can see on my wrist, we'll zoom out a little bit, my wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. So you get a good sense of the watch. It looks less like a Daytona and has more of its own personality and presence on the strap. Previously, I've reviewed the watch on the bracelet. This version right here is more distinctly Zenith. It's also probably a better fit for a small wrist, so I can recommend this watch, even as large as it is, for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference, because it is so short from lug to lug and the strap is so flexible. Here's your over-the-top shot. Now let's take a look at the strap. The strap is made of calfskin. You can see that in profile, the cut of the calfskin. It has what I believe to be an embossed calfskin with a textile effect on top. Zenith describes this as Cordura effect. Whether it's a very thin layer of textile or a piece of embossed calfskin, I can tell you this: the strap itself is made of leather, and then the underside is a rubber applique designed to separate the moisture, oil, sweat, and grit of the wrist from the leather to improve its durability over time. We have a double deploying clasp, which you can see is nicely made, double deploying with polished surfaces. You can see the use of ceramic spring-loaded pin snaps internally, so over time the tolerances will not lessen or become ropey or loose because the steel cannot aggress against the ceramic pin snap. We have a buckle with a combination of satin and polish, and you can see it has twin trigger release so it can't pop open accidentally. And then we roll back to the case and you can see that this is where the watch is most distinctly a Zenith. The Chronomaster case shape has been around for over a decade at this point, at least in this form. There was a fluted Chronomaster before it. This is the modern Chronomaster that we've known and loved since 2010. And you can see it is very different from a Rolex Daytona. A Daytona has tapered lug profiles, it has a thinner case band, it doesn't have this longitudinal bevel that runs from end to end, and the Daytona currently does not feature satin finished lug tops. So any profile shot or isometric shot of this watch, and especially from the crown side, it looks a lot more like Zenith than anything else, especially since the Rolex has screw downs and crown guards and this watch does not. It features a simple Zenith star crown that's slightly countersunk and pump style pushers. Take note, good stuff here. A little kerf underneath the crown so you can dig your nail in. Thoughtful Zenith, I like it. From this angle, the watch looks a lot more like the Daytona, and that's down to the combination of the black dial, the stick indices, and the ceramic, full ceramic, not ceramic insert, but full ceramic bezel. Now the bezel is different. It's not a tachymeter as on the Rolex. It is a 1/10 of a second scale. So this striking 10th complication, which was first previewed back in 2010, converts 10 seconds into 360 degrees of foutoyant sweep. As a result, the tenths of a second are spread over a physically larger space. So 36 degrees of angular sweep on a larger circle makes for a larger scale with bigger gaps between the hashes, which allows, really for the first time, the striking tenth system allows you to read the tenths of a second, facilitated by the 1/10 of a second El Primero chronograph. So not only is it visually spectacular, but it does have a practical purpose. Moving inboard, you can see applique indices. They are a diamond polished steel plated with rhodium, and they have a lovely floating effect on top of a gloss black lacquer base. At center dial, you can see this watch is all Zenith with the overlapping registers in tritone. You can see they even feature a countersunk center with concentric pattern and a couple of different splashes of colors. We have some red, some navy blue, some gray, and silver, giving the watch a Zenith character. You can also see that there is a date between 4 and 5 o'clock, something you will not find on a Daytona. Though I'll be perfectly honest, the design of the dial is maybe about 30% Leloc and maybe 70% Geneva. Now, the case back is 100% lug. This is all Zenith. Second generation El Primero caliber. We first saw it, the caliber 3600 that is, on the 2019 50th anniversary Chronomaster 2. What you have here is fundamentally a lateral clutch column wheel chronograph, now with a 60-hour power reserve rather than 50, and now with a hacking seconds function that wasn't available before. It features a silicone escapement, so unlubricated escapement for long-wearing durability and long intervals between service. All this is 100 meters water resistant, so though it looks like a dress watch, you can absolutely take it swimming. So you've got the hacking seconds function for the first time, but the quick set date comes back by popular demand, so you have both functions. A big change is that you now set the El Primero as you would any conventional watch, with the crown in its outermost position setting the time and the intermediate position setting the date. It used to be the other way around. It still beats away at 36,000 vibrations per hour, or 10 beats per second, and now pivots on 35 rather than the previous 31 joules. As ever, the column wheel feel is best in the industry, competitive with the finest out there, and I feel like, if anything, it's become even a little bit more competitive with this generation, which now features a handsome nickel anthracite coating over satinated bridges and plates. A gorgeous watch inside and out, and a technical landmark. This is a watch that ultimately stands on its own 4 lugs. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. We're back with a loom shot of the Chronomaster Sport.